Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Malcontent Corner, the corner where I hope to enlighten your lives by sharing with you things I've learned in the daily walk of mine. Today we're going to talk about my 1995 Explorer, which all of a sudden decided to not work with regards to its power windows, four-wheel drive, dome light, front and rear wiper, and what I did to figure out the problem. Coming up next. Welcome back from that intro, folks. As I said, all of a sudden I lost all kinds of functionality of creature comforts on my Ford Explorer. My wife and I went to go to the store. It was raining. We hopped in the car, turned on the wipers. I had no wipers. That was kind of weird. So we parked the car. When I got back, I did what everybody else usually does. I got on the interwebs to find out what fuse might be bad. We had just gone through a cold snap where I was at. So I thought maybe the wipers got frozen to the windshield and maybe my wife had turned on the wipers, loaded down the motor, and popped the fuse. In the process of finding out about that wiper, or I'm sorry, the fuse that feeds the power to the wiper motor, I also kept reading about this GEM module, General Electric Module. It's like, well, what the hell is that? So I went out and I checked. The fuse was good. I had 12 volts going to the wiper motor, so I thought. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to troubleshoot this and see if this module is bad. So I ended up taking a look. I didn't have a dome light. Again, my front washer wasn't working. My front wiper wasn't working. I found out that the windows would not roll up or down, front door or rear door. The rear washer would work, rear wiper wouldn't work. I didn't even bother testing the rear window defroster. At that point, I figured I had a bad module. But then that led to the question of, where does this module live at? So let's head out. I'll show you where the module's at. And then we'll come back in and we'll go over a few more things. Okay, everyone, here we are on the inside of the car itself. What I've done is I've already removed this center console here. That's pretty easy. There's basically two screws that come up here and here through the bottom, and this will pry out. There's also an air plenum back here too that's held in by two 7mm screws. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a hole for one there, hole for one there. Pull those screws out. The air plenum, if you try to pull it straight out, you're going to have a tough time doing it because while you cannot see it here in this video, there's a latch up here. So I find it's usually best to go in through the center of that plenum and pop it up, and then the whole thing will pull out real easy like. If you just try to pull it out, you're going to find that it's going to be hooked up on this one-way catch up here. So again, just go in, pop it up in the center, you can pull the whole thing out. The module in question is right here. This is the GEM module, or the GEM module, or whatever you want to call it. And basically there is a 7mm screw right here. Once you pull that screw out, and the nice thing is everything that's required to pull out this center console and this air plenum and this screw, it's all 7mm, so it makes it real handy. Once you have that screw out though, this will slide down and you can get this module out. So that's where the module lives. Pretty cut and dry. If you're going to work anything with regards to this module, do yourself a favor, unplug the battery so you can keep the likelihood of blowing anything up to a minimum. All right, back to the garage. Welcome back to the garage. If you happen to have a 1995 to 2000 Ford Explorer, that is where the GEM module exists. Now once you pull it out, you will find the module looks exactly like this. It doesn't weigh very much, maybe 16 ounces, but if you take a look, it's going to have 3 plugs on one side, 1 plug in the bottom, a couple of slots in the back where the tabs from the dash will lock in the top half of the module, and a little tab at the bottom here with a hole where the 7mm screw will go through to firmly mount this against that dash. Now, if your module looks anything like mine, you're going to find a white tag on there, and you're going to find an alphanumeric lettering sequence up on the very top. In this case, and probably in your case, it will start with the letter F. You will probably be inclined to believe that that is a part number. It is not a part number. In fact, I can't tell you what the part number is for this module. I don't know if Ford had a book that would break it out by year or by, I don't know what they have, but I will try to explain to you what this alphanumeric character here on the top breaks out to, so that you understand a little better, even with my limited knowledge, what you're dealing with. So in this case, the module that I removed is an F57B-14B205-CK. As I said, I thought that was a part number, but it's not. Actually, F is Ford's designation for a 1990s vehicle. 60s would be a C, 70s would be a D, 80s would be an E, F being the 1990s. So the F5 lets you know that this is a 1995, or this part was made for a 1995 vehicle. The 7 is Ford's descriptive number for the Ford Ranger, Ford Explorer line. So F57 lets you know that it's for either a 1995 Explorer or Ranger, and the B stands for, as best as I can define, it means that this is part of the body control module group. Now, I thought maybe the 14B205 stood for something. It does not. It seems to be a very ubiquitous number, which is on all these GEM modules. I thought the last two characters on here, the CK, stood for something. I've not been able to break them out to anything. The best I could tell you is I think it might be an alpha version of what revision or version number of module you have, but don't take that as gospel. I found these modules with BAs, CAs, CKs, double Ds, double E's, you know, sounding a lot like bra sizes, but I could not find any rhyme or reason to it. However, all is not lost, because if you look at the bottom, you're going to have a descriptor on here, in this case, Sports Utility Automatic 4-Wheel Drive. Now, I knew what module this car came out of. It was a 1995 Ford Explorer XLT 4-door with 4-wheel drive. Now, I'm going to pause right here because I want to inform you, the viewer, of something that I learned. Again, don't take this as gospel, but it's a good rule of thumb to the best of my understanding. If you take the whole second generation of the Ford Explorer, there's actually two subsets. And what I mean by that is the 95 and 96 Ford Explorer are identical, to the best of my knowledge, with regards to both electrics and mechanicals. 97 through 2000, there were some changes from the 96 and 95 version. So if you're going to go out and start trying to swap parts, just be aware that 96 and 95 are like sister group, whereas 97 through 2000 are their own sister group. The main difference that I've been able to find in that is with regards to things such as like wiper blades, wiper pivots. If you take a look, they're a little different. You can substitute a 97 onto a 95 with regards to the wiper blade. I believe there's some differences in some of the switches, like the 4-wheel drive, and possibly, again, I believe, but I know for a fact that there is a difference between how the front axles engage and disengage from the hub from the 95, 96 model years versus the 97 and later model years. So with that being said and done, if you're going to go out and replace one of these modules, you want to try to get like for like. So in this case, I would want to try to get an F5 7B-14B205-CK module that said Sports Utility Automatic 4-Wheel Drive. I went to the salvage yard, and with my luck, they didn't have any Ford Explorers that were 4-wheel drives. In fact, they only had one Ford Explorer. It did look very similar to mine in that it was a four-door. It had front and rear wipers. It had power windows, power locks, and all that. However, it was only a 2-wheel drive. And here's the module out of that. If you take a look, it's an F87B-14B205-BC. And down below it says Sports Utility 4x2. Knowing that, I decided to take a flyer on it. I compared the plugs themselves. They look identical. And I thought, well, you know, this module was cheap enough. I only paid 20 bucks for it. I'm going to try it. And the worst it could do would be not work and possibly burn up something. Worst case scenario, burn the car to the ground. But I didn't think that was very likely, knowing that a lot of these circuits are fused. So I figured the worst that could probably happen is either nothing will work or this module might get smoked. So I ended up putting this module in my car, and wonder of wonders, I got 90% of my creature comforts back. Now, I'm not saying you should do this, but I'm just telling you what I did in my circumstances, and it ended up working out for me. Front and rear wipers started to work. Windows would go up and down in both the front and rear doors. You know, everything was functioning. Dome light came back on. Everything was functioning. The only function I didn't have was four-wheel drive. Again, I don't need four-wheel drive that often. Having windows that will roll up and down and wipers that work is way more important than the four-wheel drive functionality. And this module fit that bill for me until I was able to try to find the correct module. Now, with that being said and done, I waited a while. The salvage yard did get in another Ford Explorer. However, it was not a 95. It was a 1996 four-wheel drive. So I went out and checked it out, and once again, it was an XLT. It had 4 doors, front and rear wipers, power windows, power locks, had the four-wheel drive function. So I took a flyer on that module and I put it in my car. So I have a 1996 module in my 1995 Ford Explorer, and as far as I can tell, everything now functions as it should. Rear and front wipers work, windows roll up and down, and yes, it does seem to go into four-wheel drive high and four-wheel drive low. I've not been able to get out into any slick areas to make sure that the hubs are engaging as they should, but I suspect they probably will, knowing that 95 and 96 Ford Explorers are basically the same mechanically and electrically. So in my case, I was able to substitute another module. However, with that being said, I would not even try to put in a 97 or later module into my 96 or 95 Ford Explorer and expecting the four-wheel drive to function properly. If it will, and if you know it will, please, once again, share the wealth and put something in the comments down below to further school me and perhaps some other viewers out there. But in my case, I was able to substitute a 96 module in my 95. Everything does seem to work. And wonder of wonders, I was able to put in a 98 4x2 module in my Explorer. And once again, everything worked with the exception of the four-wheel drive. So that is where I'm leaving this video. As of now, the vehicle is working. Everything performs as it should. And I have not seen any ill effects. If I should happen to get out there and find out that my four-wheel drive isn't working correctly, I will post an update here. You will be the second ones to know after I find out, but I suspect everything will work properly. Now that's what I have for you here in this episode of Malcontent Corner. If you happen to have a 95 or 2000 Explorer, I hope this video will help you out in some way, shape, or form. But even if you don't, I do appreciate you taking the time to stop, to watch my video, and to listen to me talk. If you like what I have to share here, please feel free to leave a comment down below, or better yet, subscribe to my channel. I'm always up for more subscribers. And as always, thank you for listening. I hope to see you back again here in the not too distant future. And until that time, you take care of yourselves, and we'll see you later. All right? Ciao.